you're a real estate agent posting on social media and not leveraging these 10 very simple strategies, every time you post, you're losing free leads and not to mention wasting a ton of time and energy. I'm going to give you 10 simple yet highly effective strategies for creating better content than any other agent in your market. And not only that, I'm going to also break down exact examples and data so that you know exactly what you can do and data that reinforces why this is so critical. Okay, once we get to number 2, that's when you're going to start to get some ninja strategies where you're really going to be able to make simple tweaks that will exponentially change the amount of leads that you generate using social media. However, first we have to start with the foundation, which is number 1, knowing your audience. This is essential if you want to create great content and actually convert leads from the posts that you're making. Now, this more than ever is more critical, especially after the NAR settlement, where people are now looking for specialists instead of generalists. But when creating content, when you have immense clarity on who your audience is, you're able to speak directly to them. And when you can speak directly to them, it makes the person on the other end feel seen, heard, appreciated, and most importantly, understood. And when somebody feels like you understand what they're going through and you can provide a solution to them because of that relatability, that's going to exponentially convert your online leads, but it's also going to help your organic content connect much deeper. So what I encourage you to do is first map out exactly who your target avatar is. And I'll explain how you can do that in case you don't know, but you need to get clarity on the demographics, their pain points, their interests, their behaviors, so that you can create content specifically tailored to them. Now, there's 2 different ways that you could approach this if you're not familiar with it and you don't already have a niche. The first is going to be looking at your social media analytics. If you've been posting on any platform for quite some time, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, you're able to go into your insights and you can pull up very easily the average target audience that is engaging with your content. From me, on any platform, it's more male dominant between 25 and 45 years old. So it's no surprise that the way that I create my content resonates and connects with that audience. And I create my content specifically for them because that's the type of people that can relate to me because I am between 25 and 45, right smack in the middle as a male. Now, for you, there's another alternative, which is you're most qualified to help the person that you used to be. So let's say, for example, you relocated to your market from a different state, province, city, country, continent. One of the audiences that you should be going after is going to be relocation. If you just bought your first home, you relate to first-time home buyers. That can become your target audience. So if you're unaware of who you should be going after, just think about who you can relate to because they're gonna relate to you as well. Now, to add some data before we get into number 2 that reinforces why putting out social media content is so important, NAR says that 73% of buyers are millennials. And millennials like to consume content, especially on the video side, more so than blog and written content. So that's why once you identify your target avatar and your target audience, who you're gonna speak directly to, that's why it's so critical that you then amplify your message by leveraging things like video marketing. Now, the second one, which is where things start to get really interesting, you need to hook people immediately. Hooks are the most important component of your video because attention span is like that of a gnat. There is no attention span anymore. So when people are just mindlessly scrolling through social media, if you don't hook their attention, they're on to the next video, like that. You need to get really good at hooking people. Now, this only takes about a minute. Anytime I write out a short form video or a YouTube video, like you just saw in the beginning of this video, I wrote out that hook. I don't write out the rest of my video, I just have bullet points to keep me on track so that I can make sure I bring you as much value as possible. But I do write out the hook because that's what's going to keep people watching your video and make them stop in their tracks on their endless random scrolling session to consume your content. And the reason why a hook is so important is because number 1, people only care about 3 things: me, myself, and I. You've heard with him or what's in it for me. People only care about themselves. So that's why it's so important that your hook gives people a reason why they should watch so that they understand what's going to be the benefit to them by continuing to spend their time when they're trying to just waste it all watching the rest of your video. To give you some context, I wrote out an example of what a bad hook is and what a good hook is. So this would be for a YouTube video, for example, somebody that's a real estate agent in Phoenix explaining to people why they should relocate to Phoenix and what the top neighborhoods would be that they should consider when moving to Phoenix. So let me first read off of my screen here what a bad hook looks like. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the cost of living in Phoenix compared to some other cities. Phoenix is a great place to live and so many people want to move here. So I thought I'd cover this topic. If you're interested in learning more, stay tuned. Now, why is that bad? You should never say welcome back to my channel. The definition of growing your audience is new people finding you. So if somebody new is finding you, how are you welcoming them back to anything? It's their first time finding you, and that alienates them. You want them to feel included. Now, another reason why this is really bad, I'm going to be talking a little bit about the cost of living in Phoenix. If you're interested in learning more, stay tuned. Well, you need to tell people why they should be interested in learning more. Otherwise, X is going to happen. Otherwise, X mistake exists. So let me explain and read off to you what a good hook would be. If you're thinking about moving to Phoenix, you might be making one of the biggest decisions of your life. But here's the thing. Choose the wrong neighborhood, and it could be the most costly mistake that leaves you feeling trapped and disconnected. In this video, I'm going to show you the top 5 neighborhoods that are perfect for families and young professionals, and I'll help you avoid that regret by making sure that your next move is the right one. So let me explain why that's a good hook. Well, nobody wants to choose the wrong neighborhood and feel trapped and disconnected. So now people are curious. I need to choose the right place so I don't have these negative emotions. Also, I'll help you avoid that regret by making sure your next move is the right one. Well, nobody wants to feel regret. Now, transparently, just to talk to you about how easy it is to create great content for social media, I simply just asked ChatGPT to write the hook for this video. So if you're about to create a video about something, just ask ChatGPT, hey, please write a hook that piques curiosity, evokes emotion, leverages fear, and makes sure that people are interested in watching the rest of this video. Done. That's what wrote both of those. Now, in the first one, I asked for ChatGPT to write it in a bad way, and the second one, I said, just write it for me the way that it should be done, and that's the outcome. Now, let me give you some data that reinforces why hooks are so important. YouTube stats say that 60% of viewers on average will leave a video within 1 minute, which kills your watch time, if they don't understand exactly what they should be getting from the video and it doesn't captivate their interest. Number 3 is going to be storytelling. Facts tell, stories sell. This is where you're going to win the game because at the end of the day, your personal brand just boils down to people knowing, liking, and trusting you. If you look at anybody that you look up to, whether it be somebody like Gary Vee or Ed Mylett or anybody else that you aspire to be like, you feel connected to them because you know their story. You know Gary Vee wants to buy the Jets. You know that he started with Wine Library TV and the lemonade stand and baseball cards and all these things. You know his story, so you feel connected to him, you feel very patriotic to him, and you like to engage with him. You want people to do the same with you. And the best way to do that is to share your story. And the more people feel like they know you on an intimate and more vulnerable level, that's going to also increase your referrals because people are going to constantly remember you. Nobody remembers somebody who they don't know their story. They just blend in with the sea of other agents in the market. But if you shared your story, when people are actually listening to a story, it actually releases a hormone called oxytocin. Oxytocin is the same hormone that gets released when you're intimate or when you have a very passionate moment or when women are giving birth. Think about that level, a hormone secretion when people are listening to a story. That's the level of connection that happens. So it's really critical that you start to share your story on social media. One of the best ways that you could start to do this is very simply by sharing the story of why you got into real estate, or maybe how you've changed a family's life. Share a story about somebody that moved to this country and wanted the American or Canadian dream and that you helped them achieve that, or any stories that are very emotional related to a client. That's a really great way because you're a byproduct of that. You help them for people to get to know you on a deeper level. Now, going back to data to prove and reinforce why storytelling is so critical, stats show that there's a 65% increase in viewer retention when stories are included within the content. So knowing that watch time is the most critical component of any algorithm on long form and short form content, and you can get a 65% increase on that by including stories, that goes to show you how you can quickly create way better content than any other agent. Number 4, hypercritical. Call to action or CTA. If you don't call an action, no action gets taken. Whether you're doing short form content or long form content, the call to action is one of the most critical things that you need to include when creating social media content. Let me give you an example of this. There's an agent on my group at EXP and he's got about 5,000 subscribers. He did over $100,000 a month in commission from his YouTube channel. There's another person in the same market as him that has over 25,000 subscribers. 5 times bigger audience. He did 1 deal last year from that YouTube channel. The difference was the person that did very few deals, whenever they were doing a call to action, they said, if you like this video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe at the very start of the video. What the problem is you're going to get what you ask for. So he got a bunch of likes and a bunch of subscriptions, but not very many deals. For me, I would rather have leads, conversations, and closed deals than likes, comments, and subscriptions. So what should you ask for? What you want to ask for, and this needs to be within the first 1 minute of your YouTube video, is you need to prompt people to get in touch with you. So if you're doing a video, first you want to start with your hook, then you want to go straight into a call to action. And I'll give you an exact example right now of what a bad call to action is and what a good call to action is. So keeping on that same topic of relocating to Phoenix, let me read off what a bad call to action is. If you think you want to talk about neighborhoods, I guess you could reach out to me. People sometimes contact me, but it's no big deal if you don't. You can call me or use one of the links below, whatever works for you. I don't know. We could maybe figure something out if you need help moving to Phoenix. That is terrible, right? And that's a really bad example, but truthfully, that's not far off what many agents do. So let me explain to you what a good call to action is. If you're ready to explore which neighborhood might be the best fit for you, I'm here to help. I have people just like you reaching out to me every week to help them with their next move, whether it's buying, selling, or relocating to Phoenix. Let's chat about your specific needs. You can reach me directly at, add your phone number, or through any of the contact methods listed in the description below. I'm excited to help you make your next move to Phoenix as smooth as possible. The key to a proper call to action is you want to speak directly to the person. So you'll notice how the good call to action says, I have people just like you reaching out to me every week to help with their next move. And the critical part to that is not just speaking directly to them, but nobody wants to be first. So if people just assume that that they're going to be the first person to reach out to you, they're really not likely to do it. But if people feel like, hey, others have reached out to you, you've helped serve other people that have my problem, they're much more inclined to reach out because they feel included and not like they're the first one to do it. Bringing this back to data to wrap up call to actions, a clear call to action on average increases conversion rates from content by 80%. So whenever you're doing content, whether it be short form or long form, start including a proper call to action. Number 5 is going to be serving, not selling. Now more than ever, with the craziness in the market, lowest sales in I think 30 plus years, the NAR settlement, interest rates, politics, all the nonsense happening, you're starting to have a lot of agents that have what I refer to as commission breath. They're pushing sales. They're really, really trying to get the deal. And the problem with that is that this is a relationship business. And at the end of the day, the people that serve the most customers, serve the most buyers and sellers, the income is a byproduct of that, but you have to be focused on serving and providing value, not selling and trying to convert and be transactional. This is why I always encourage people now more than ever to provide more clarity, more depth, and longer videos on long form. YouTube videos that are between 10 and 20 minutes instead of 5 to 10 minutes. The more value you can create and the more value you bring to the market, the more income you're gonna make. Plain and simple. The market rewards value. And if you're the one that's providing more depth, more clarity, more value, more details, and making it enjoyable for people to consume, whether you're introverted or extroverted, it does not matter. You're going to be the one that gets the clients. But the people that are just putting out content with the intention of just getting the quickest sale possible, you are going to lose because your focus is wrong. You need to get excited about serving and helping and pouring into people. So many agents say that they get into real estate to help people. They love helping people. They love working with people. But when you look at how they market and advertise themselves, they're selfish. So the more selfless you could be, the higher your content's going to convert, and people are going to feel that. A piece of data that supports that is from HubSpot, which recently found that 73% of consumers of any industry enjoy learning about whatever they're trying to achieve through content first. So the agents that are putting out content, again, that's where people are starting their search. And the more you can put out value-driven content that serves the market, the higher your content's gonna convert. Number 6, being authentic. Let me explain the importance of being authentic with my own story. When I first got started in YouTube, I was naturally introverted. Some people might not know that, but I was introverted. I was bullied in high school. I was teased all the time. I was petrified of being in front of the camera. So this was like my worst nightmare. And I heard a stat that said, on camera, you're 4 times less energetic than you actually feel or seem in person. So I took that and said, okay, I guess I need to have this over-the-top energy when it comes to content and recording my YouTube videos. And I did that. It took me 1 year to get 167 subscribers. It was a nightmare. And I hated putting out content because I wasn't myself. I was putting on this energy that wasn't me. And the year that I started to just say, hey, you know what, this isn't fun. I'm gonna start putting out content exactly how I talk in person, exactly how I am when I'm on a Zoom call, when I'm talking in private. And that's the year my subscribers went from 167 to 3,000, and the next year 3,000 to 20,000, and my income went from 300,000 to $3 million in 12 months. All because I started to be authentic. So there's somebody out there that's just like you. I used the example previously of Barry Cessna. If you want that interview, just drop a comment below and say introvert. I'll send it to you. It's unbelievable. But Barry did $101,300 GCI in 1 month as an introvert with less than 200 subscribers as a new YouTuber who, again, has to read off a script because he's terrified of the camera. But he's authentic. And guess who relates to Barry? Other very data-driven introverts. And he's crushing it, even with a small channel. But he's authentic and he's genuinely himself. He's the most incredible guy. I absolutely love Barry. And he's actually got a YouTube channel now where he educates introverts on how to crush it with content as an introvert using all the tips and strategies that he uses. But he's genuine. And the more you can be authentic, the higher your content is going to convert. So one of the best things you can do when it comes to your content is not just being authentic in terms of delivery of your message, but also be authentic about your story. If you have bad days, share that. If you make mistakes and you learn from them, share that. If you've got a family and you're going to the ball game or doing something, going on a trip, share that. Let people know who you authentically are. And one of the interesting stats from NAR that reinforces this, it says that 86% of home buyers and sellers prefer to work with a well-known personal brand than a brokerage brand. So the stronger your personal brand becomes, the more clients that are going to reach out to you and the more your content's going to convert, but you have to get people to know who the real you actually is. Another way to do this comes to number 7, which is behind the scenes content. It humanizes you. It's one of the best types of content that you can do. It's also the easiest content you can do. Whenever you're doing property tours, showings with your clients, if you find something unique at the home, go take this around and share it. If, for example, you're setting up a property for doing photos, share it. Anything that you're doing, just share it. People are naturally inquisitive about the real estate industry, but it also allows people to get to know you, your work ethic, your style of business, how much effort you're putting into it, how hard you work, which also justifies your value as a realtor. Now, this really relates to creating better content and what we talked about in the beginning about creating more raw, relatable content, because people are now overwhelmed with the Hormozi style content of just overly edited sensory overload type content, is that 64% of consumers prefer to consume raw, relatable content than overly polished content when they're trying to build a connection with the product or a service. That's great news for you if you want to get better results with your social media content, because again, it doesn't mean that you need to hire some expensive video team. You don't have to put a lot of effort into editing and transitions and B-roll and all this craziness that sucks all of your time. Just record yourself authentically in the behind the scenes content, whether you're setting up for an open house, you're taking down for an open house, you just got out of a listing or a buyer's appointment and you got the client and you're excited about what's coming and what you're gonna do to help them, or any of these things that are part of your journey. I posted for the first 1,000 days on Instagram as a licensed agent. I had no clue what I was doing, but I was able to post 1,000 posts in 1,000 days because all that I was doing was documenting my entire journey. And it wasn't that hard. It wasn't these proper photo shoots all the time. It wasn't this high quality video content. It was just me sharing my story. And the more you can include behind the scenes content, the more people are gonna feel connected to your personal brand and thus generate more leads from your content. That perfectly tees up point number 8, which is quality over quantity, but don't overproduce. Overproduced content can feel inauthentic, it can feel unnatural, and again, going back to what I said earlier, that Hormozi style content of the sensory overload with edits and cuts and transitions and text overlay that's flying from every direction, that worked like a couple years ago and last year a little bit. But now people are sick of it. It consumed the entire feed on every social platform, and people got tired of it. And that's great news, because now the content that's working best is the real, raw, relatable content where you're just genuinely speaking into this beautiful device that we all have access to. And it's gonna take way less time to edit, but here's the critical thing. Quality is not just the quality of the actual video and audio. Audio is most important, video second. Any new phone, 16 Pro Max, 15, 14, whatever you have, is gonna be more than good enough. Sorry to all my Android people. But quality means quality in terms of the level of value you provide. Quality equals value. You can have a video that's not shot the best, but it's actually valuable, solves a problem, speaks directly to your target audience, their pain points, their interests, and their behaviors. That is going to connect. So it's really important to have that delineation between quality of the production and quality of the value. Quality of the value is way more important. Now, the critical thing I want you to understand is that quality trumps quantity, but quality quantity wins everything. So in the beginning, yes, focus on putting out very value-driven content. But as you can start to build momentum, because people are now posting a lot, if you can get to the point where you're posting once a day on short form content, and you can post at least twice a week on YouTube, you will crush if you're leveraging proper hooks, proper call to action, storytelling, and everything that we walk through today. I know that that's a muscle. I know that that might take some time to build momentum up to, but that's okay. Work toward it. And if you batch your content, it's really not that difficult. Now, going back to data that reinforces and supports this, 86% of consumers say that they are looking for and want more content from brands, products, and services that they consume. So the more content that you put out with value related to your target avatar, the more leads you're going to generate. Number 9, where we start getting more technical, optimization. This is what so many agents go wrong with. Optimization is one of the most critical components when it comes to social media content, especially on things like YouTube. Now, TikTok, this is crazy. TikTok is now the 3rd best search platform. Google number 1, YouTube number 2, TikTok number 3, which is crazy because it's a short form platform, but everybody's in this race for SEO or search engine optimization. So the more that you can start to optimize your content and make it searchable so people can find it, the more views and more engagement your content's gonna get, but also, more importantly, the more leads you're going to get from your content. So when you're doing something short form, make sure in the description and the hashtags, you're using very literal search terms. Additionally, when it comes to YouTube, looking at the multiple components that go into optimizing a video, the thumbnail and title are the 2 most important parts of optimizing a YouTube video. Not the video itself, the thumbnail and the title, because you can have the most incredible video on the planet, but if nobody clicks on it, nobody knows. That's why the thumbnail and the title are the most important components of a YouTube video. You also have the description, which is where your conversion comes from, the call to action, the links in the description. And then you have the keywords, which are making it searchable. So it's really critical that when you're putting all this effort into content, getting outside of your comfort zone, that you actually optimize it so that people can find it and that all that hard work doesn't go to waste. And number 10, one of the most important ones where every agent seems to drop the ball, is being consistent. Lack of consistency comes down to lack of discipline and not following through with the commitments you make to yourself. You need to get really good at time management, but more importantly, priority management and making content a priority and a staple in your lead generation. I have helped thousands of agents generate free leads from their social media content, and all that they're doing is being consistent. Some people have really terrible content, but because they're consistent, they're always top of mind and they actually get leads from their content. So if you just follow the other 9 steps that I shared with you and you are consistent with it, you will be shocked within 3 to 6 months that you start to get people reaching out to you from your social media content. A recent study from HubSpot says that people or brands and personal brands that put out content consistently get 62% more engagement than those who do not, which is why it's so important for you to be consistent. I highly encourage you to leverage creating a content calendar and to just know exactly what you need to do. And if you want to know how to use ChatGPT to create Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube content, just drop a comment below, say which platform you care most about, and I'll send you a link because I have a video that has a full prompt that will create your entire month's worth of content for you with one click. It is so easy. With the opportunity to leverage AI, we have no excuses not to be consistent. You can take those posts, put them in your content calendar, and that's going to allow you to, again, be consistent. So if you just follow those steps and you introduce these very simple yet highly effective strategies into your content, you'll be shocked at 3 to 6 months from now the amount of leads you start to generate, and your competition is going to be shocked at why they're no longer getting those leads. And if you want to get started today and know exactly how to create YouTube content and my entire workflow, check out this next video where I walk through everything I do from preparing to time management, priority management, optimization, and everything you need to do so that your YouTube videos start to generate consistent free leads that actually turn into closed deals.